Welcome back. Nestlé has recalled a batch of its NAN Special Pro baby formula in South Africa following a global safety alert. Tests found possible traces of a toxin that can cause stomach illnesses, although no cases have been reported. Caregivers are advised to check their tins and return affected products for a refund. National Consumer Commission Complaints and Investigations says the recall affects products manufactured on June 15th, 2025, and with a best before date of December 15th, 2026. For more on the story, I'm now joined by Penny Campbell, the Health Department's Food Security Director. Penny, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. And if you could just tell us a little bit more about this recall and the specific product.
Good afternoon, Martha, and good afternoon to the viewers. So on Monday, Nestlé informed us, as well as the National Consumer Commission, that they had identified a toxin in an ingredient that they use in infant formula, and it's also been found in product that has been exported to South Africa. So the products were originally manufactured in the European Union, and there's been a large-scale recall of many products throughout the European Union since early December, and it has now identified that there's this specific batch that was exported to South Africa as well. And it has been, they report to us that it has been on the shelf since September of last year.
Penny, if, let's say, the product has been on the shelves, as you say, since September last year, and a caregiver had bought it, I don't know, a couple of weeks later in October, they most likely would have already used it by now. But I see that we have no cases that have been reported of any kind of illnesses.
Yes, fortunately, the amount of the toxin that is there is possibly too low to cause any illness. But because we are looking at this through the past, mothers might have seen that their children might have had a vomit episode, and this could be linked to this toxin. Because the toxin, when it is already preformed, it can cause this. But what Nestle has informed us is that the toxin was found in what they call the arachidonic acid oil. So the oil is a very small ingredient in the product, and therefore the exposure levels would be quite low. However, because we do consider that this should not be in any products, we agree with their decision to recall the product in South Africa as well. So consumers, mothers do not need to be overly anxious about this, and there's no need to panic. But this is what happens when a product is being developed, and they need to put an ingredient that is already in mother's milk but not found in cow's milk, and that is that arachidonic acid, which is an essential fatty acid for cell growth and immunity boosting, and it is naturally found in breast milk, but they need to augment it into an infant formula so that it can then perhaps mimic breast milk.
And because the recall was quite recent, typically how long does it take before such products are completely off shelves? For someone who may miss this interview today and perhaps go to the shops tomorrow, would the product still be on shelves?
Well, it would depend on where on shelf it would be, because Nestle has indicated that it has its own customer base, and they've all been informed of the recall, and have started withdrawing the stock from the shelves and taking it back to Nestle's distribution center. So on customer shelves, there might not be any product. But we've also asked environmental health practitioners in the municipalities to go and further check on other customers' retailer shelves that might have bought the product in bulk from one of Nestle's customers. So, for example, if there's a small shop in a deep rural area and they are purchasing their bulk stocks from a macro or something like that, the environmental health practitioners are going to verify whether or not such product is still available in such rural settings that Nestle might not be able to reach because it's not their direct customer base.
And South Africa also is not the only country that's been affected. I believe this is one of Nestle's biggest recalls globally. So which other countries have been impacted by this?
Absolutely. It's across the European Union and the United Kingdom that has been adversely affected by this. We've also had notifications from the EU, and that's why we also had to verify whether or not it was just one batch, because we received the information from Nestle, but we also needed to receive the information from the European food safety authorities. Because when any unsafe food is placed on the market, every country is obliged to then notify any of their trading partners of the unsafe food so that they can take the actions necessary to recall or take the product off the shelf. So similarly, we have also issued a food safety alert, as I said, to the environmental health practitioners in the municipalities. But what we also do is we obtain from Nestle if any countries they've exported to, and they've also exported to Eswatini and Namibia. So we've also formally informed them, as well as we've informed all our neighboring countries. So all of the countries that have crossed borders with us, purely because there might be informal exports of the product happening. And we've already heard from Botswana that they've had that situation where they've picked up product in their market. So we definitely try to ensure that not only our South African consumers are being warned about the concern, but also our neighboring countries where informal trade might be happening.
And just finally, before I let you go, Penny, should a consumer pick up their product and realize that it is a product from this batch as well, as a reminder, what should they do?
Yes, please, what they should do is verify that it's the same product, because there are quite a few HA products that have different names. So this is NAN Special Pro, HA infant formula for 0 to 12 months. The batch number and then the best before date is 15th of December 2026, and they can take it to the store where they purchased it for a refund.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Penny. Really important information that you've just shared with us. Really appreciate it. That's Penny Campbell from the Health Department's Food Security Department.